People, bring the vibes. Game 5.
Oh, baby.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pregame show.
Let's go.
Let's go. Live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota Stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We're also presented by Bet365. Never ordinary. Certainly not on a night when there's a late scratch. Who was it? We'll get to that.
It's probably Jokic.
That's it. Jokic, is he out? No, it's not.
His arms.
Oh, gotcha. We're also presented by Miller. It's Miller time, guys. Tonight's Murray time. I think we're in for a very fun Tuesday night.
I think so too.
If it's not and it's just Miller time, still a pretty good night.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
Guys,
Okay.
we're going to talk about Game 5s in recent Nuggets history. We're going to talk about players sitting courtside. But most of all, we're going to break down this game and tell you what we think is going to happen. And to help me out, we got Harrison Wind.
A lot of people say that Game 5, the winner of that game goes on to win the series most of the time. A lot of people are also saying this series is the NBA Finals.
Oh, man.
So is this for the NBA championship tonight?
That was very linear.
That's the
It
transitive
makes
property.
sense to me.
It's a transitive property.
I
is
know.
true.
I
I think-
learned that in math class.
Yep, I think you're right, man.
Right?
This is it. I've also got D-Line in the house.
Guys, I think Rudy Gobert got fined too much. It's really hurting my feelings.
You want
He
to
did get
itemize
fined a
receipt?
lot. He did get fined a lot. That was a lot of money. They're throwing out money a lot these days. And then, of course, rounding out the show, Superstar Dev.
I mean, people keep on saying that I'm supposed to be at the arena. I'm not. This is my home. This is where I'm supposed to be. I was Minnesota Dev,
Yeah.
but right now I'm back home.
You're
and I
Denver
feel
Dev?
good. And I feel good. I'm Superstar Dev again.
Ah, Superstar Dev. There you guys know. Later on in the show, there's going to be the MVP ceremony. We'll talk about that. But first, what game notes do we have?
Well, let's start with the big news. Mike Conley is out. He's not playing tonight in Game 5. Achilles soreness. Popped up on the injury report after Timberwolves shoot-around this morning. He heard it on the final play of Game 4. He shot a 3 in the corner. The game was pretty much over. Came down a little awkward. And he warmed up. He was a game-time decision, but he's out. So huge news.
This is huge news. Let's break this down first before any other notes. I'm going to start with this before we get into him specifically. I hate late scratches against the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are a very cerebral team, obviously led by Jokic. I think they're great at figuring out and executing the game plan.
Yeah.
And on nights like this, they're worse, but it's just chaos. I trust the Nuggets to do the game plan, and now the game plan changes a little bit. Am I paranoid?
Yes.
Is
You're
what
paranoid.
happened in Game 2 aiding your
I
opinion
know, I
here
think
at
you-
all?
I think you're
Gobert
thinking
is
about-
way more of a change than
Yes.
Conley. Way more.
True.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yes, that is, to me, part of what happened in that game was a whole, well, we just spent 48 hours working on something that no longer applies.
Yeah, I think that is just like a lot of attention goes to Gobert and how much he means to their defense. With Mike Conley, I mean, it's really a swap for offense/defense, but you could get him in foul trouble, a little bit differently. And he's also not on the game plan in the exact same way. He doesn't affect the team in the same way. I do think we'll see a lot more Anthony Edwards, but we've been seeing Anthony Edwards. I think it takes away from their at the point guard spot. I think it takes away from their offense. It adds a bit of defense, but it's still a dangerous game. So I kind of like, not that I like that he got hurt, but I just like that they have to make some type of change. I don't think it's going to take them by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, like, Rudy Gobert going out changes entirely how Denver was going to match up defensively, go at them defensively, offensively, whatever. Mike Conley, it's like, how much scheming were they doing for Mike Conley?
Well, here's the scheming, because I think offensively, there's no question it hurts them. Like, they're not going to have
for
the
sure.
structure. So that part, in some ways, maybe gets easier. But defensively, do you start Nickeil Alexander-Walker tonight? That's like their best defensive combination of players they can put out. Now, their depth gets really narrow behind it.
Right.
Ultimately, I think this is, like, beneficial to Denver. I think Denver's odds obviously go up. But I will say, there does throw a little confusion and chaos to things.
Well, we talked about after Game 4 about how the Timberwolves might be downsizing their rotation in this game. Maybe Kyle Anderson isn't playing. That would mean they have 6 guys tonight, so maybe Kyle Anderson is playing. We'll see.
Yeah, I think so.
But yes, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is starting at point guard for them.
That's a hell of a defensive lineup they're rolling out to start the game.
Absolutely.
Rough offensively, but a hell of a defensive lineup.
Also, what does that mean for them if one player does get in foul trouble? It also shifts their backup unit. Now you're going to have to see like Jordan McLaughlin or like Monte Morris. Like, I think they have to adapt a little bit more.
I think so.
Absolutely. Chris Finch pregame. I don't know if you guys saw, Rudy Gobert got fined for doing this.
Don't do that.
I don't know what he meant by it.
Were you trying to get us fined?
Chris Finch did say, though, that he would like to see, quote, an itemized receipt. Because he said since Rudy Gobert got fined $75K for that, he wants to see, the itemized receipt on Jamal Murray's fine, which was $100K for the gesture. I don't even know if it was for the gesture, but the towel and the heating pad.
I'll give you a hint. I'll give you the itemized receipt. $50,000 for questioning the integrity of the NBA's officials and the league at large, and $25,000 for being such a freaking loser. He's done this like 8 times
that's
now.
what it is. It's the repeat offender.
He's getting charged loser tax.
Also, didn't it come after the play where he very clearly shoves Jamal in the back?
Yes.
Like,
Double hand.
It's like that was not a controversial play. There are plays that are controversial. That one, zero controversy.
Totally.
Two-handed shove in the back. His arms expand, and then he's like, "Oh, they must want money."
You're not going to believe how the reaction was in the arena.
When
they kept replaying it.
Oh, they did? Because you only did it for a second. It was
he did a
quick.
quick
Yeah, but they kept replaying him push him in the back with both hands, and everybody's like up in arms, and I'm like, what are you talking about here? Like, are we serious?
Rudy Gobert, definitely $25,000 for like, dude, you're so annoying. Tack another 25 on.
I have to say, it is a big fine, and it is. I have to assume it's repeater tax, but I don't care.
I know.
Like, who cares about any of this? Like, you know what I mean? But the fact that the Timberwolves care shows that they're rattled. They're thinking about the dumbest things. There's still a lot of talk about how Jamal should have been suspended, all this stuff. And you're like, bro, you guys are giving big loser energy right now.
Not
big
even,
loser
you
energy.
said still. There actually wasn't that much talk about it until after Game 3. And then they were like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I know.
Because the series is tied, too.
Right, because they were like, wait a minute, you were supposed to have one hand tied behind your back.
Right.
You beat us with all your players. That's not fair.
Michael Malone also spoke pregame. He was talking about adjustments heading into Game 5, and he said, sometimes I think too much is made of the adjustments. It's not really what you're doing, it's how you do it. Thought that was interesting. Did you guys know the score through 4 games of this series is 411 to 409?
I did know that.
Very close margin. Michael Malone said, every possession matters. Every possession is big.
Okay.
And finally, from Michael Malone, talking about Nikola Jokic getting the MVP tonight. He says, look, Jokic and Denver are the perfect fit. Denver has been an overlooked city, a small market city, a sleepy cow town. Nikola Jokic has also been overlooked. Nice, happy marriage there.
You see it as a sleepy cow town? You hate that, don't you?
I'm sleepy. Is that what they're asking to tell you about?
Yeah.
It must have been in Greeley.
What do you think about the MVP tonight, Dev? Let's reflect on it, because one thing that can happen is it's the third MVP. We're in the middle of a bunch of other stuff. Sometimes you got to stop and smell the roses. There's a stop and smell the rose night. He just got a third MVP. They're celebrating it tonight, and thank God it's 2-2.
Yeah, I think it's special. Like, honestly, very special, because all of us here, you guys watching, we were there before he got any, and we were trying to scream to the mountaintops about how special of a player he really was, how he was the best player in the NBA, and nobody listened to us. Nobody believed that he was this type of player. So for him to not prove it once, not to prove it a second time in which he was the worst ever that ever done it, but a third time, like, how could you argue that? And then also, when you talk about special, he is an elite company. Like, 1 of 9 is, like, incredible. Like, he's one of the best players that's ever done it. And we get to say that we done it, we got to see him do it before it happened. Also, it means not much to him, but it means everything to him. You get to just say you're one of the best people in the entire world at a specific thing that you truly love. That's big.
Yeah. I mean, I got a little lost in the sauce. I'm not going to lie to you. Sorry.
Jokic's third MVP?
I mean, it's incredible. Like, it's like, to say unprecedented is to, like, I mean, how many MVPs have walked the streets of Denver, Colorado in any sport? Like,
Very few.
I can't even, like, do we have any others? I'm trying to think. Like,
MVPs?
Yeah.
In general, yeah.
we had, like, what? Like, was John Elway the MVP?
And Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis. They weren't multiple MVPs.
Super Bowl MVP.
It's Super Bowl MVP, but not regular season. I may be misspeaking, but it's unreal.
MVP,
like
yeah.
what Jokic is doing, he's just
LA 1-1, TD 1-1, Peyton 1-1.
okay. So we have three one-time MVPs.
Yeah, 13, okay.
So you add the 3
touchdowns.
Broncos together, you get 1 Nikola Jokic. And not only that, like nobody wants to give him this goddamn award anymore. Like you just hear everybody's so grumpy about it because they just want to give it to a new guy because it's fun to christen a new king, but he's just undeniable, and it's beautiful. It is a thing that you're really going to have a hard time explaining later as to how great it was.
I know. 3 MVPs is crazy. When he got 1, it was crazy. Now he's got 3.
What do you think about, what does it do for you getting it? This is a big game.
Yeah.
Getting that crowd going.
The crowd will get going. I mean, it's similar to ring night.
Yeah,
You know, you
you're
have
right.
a pregame event that really gets the crowd hyped. You know the crowd's going to be there. You're worried about the players, I think, a little bit because it takes you out of your routine a little bit. You're focused on something else for just a split second, you know, a couple minutes. It didn't take Nuggets out of their routine on ring night, so maybe they'll be able to, you know, stay locked in for this. But it's an incredible moment, man. It's incredible. It's just awesome to be here for it.
And we're going to end this, you know, right on time, and then we'll go live for our watch along, and we'll watch the ceremony with you. And this Pacers-Knicks game might be enough of a blowout that we all get to watch, you know, the broadcast of it, which would be extra great. All right, let's go to the Circle K segment. Who's going to eat? Presented by Inner Circle Rewards. This is a big question for tonight, Dev. Who's going to eat?
I'm gonna let you guys save it for last. I think that this is an Aaron Gordon eats game again. He really has been eating. He's been phenomenal in this series, knocking every single shot down. They're now having to adjust to him. Like a lot of the conversation, you know, with the Minnesota players today was about how good he has been playing. You get to see that comment from Anthony Edwards in the last game of like, sheesh, like he really is destroying us. And I just think that this is a matchup that he like feels good in. He feels like he's more physically gifted. He's knocking down the 3 ball. And then also he's just confident. So like you like to see him, you know, play with this type of confidence. I think he continues that. Aaron Gordon's going to eat.
Jamal. Jamal's here. Jamal, playoff bubble, finals, Murray bubble is here. He's the guy, man. He's back. He's arrived. Don't have to question it anymore. Now we just sit back and watch it. Throw out the bacometer, Kale. We don't even need it.
What?
We know he's back. He's cemented back. He's minted. Forget it. It's done.
The defensive trio now of Ant, McDaniels, and Nah starting, you know, to me is very interesting for that specific reason. I do think there'll be a lot of disorder. But you know what? If Murray brings it tonight...
Doesn't matter.
If Murray brings it tonight, I'll be with you. I'm going to say this. Don't throw out the bacometer. Take it out of the...
please
take it
don't.
out, take it out of the trash folder. Just put it on the desktop. We'll leave it there for now.
We need to get our deposit back on it.
But for me, that's the only part about it. If he gets it tonight, though, I'll be with you. So you might be just ahead of the curve here.
Always am.
I'll catch up to you if we get a
Jamal
a
Murray, Quentin
game.
Grimes, always ahead of the curve. I think it's Jamal Murray as well. So I was at Timberwolves shoot-around this morning. Jaden McDaniels spoke with the media.
Oh.
Guys, he might have poked the bear.
He had a lot of respect for Jamal and how hard it is to guard him, right?
He might have poked the bear. He was asked about defending Jamal Murray. He said, look, Jamal's just making, quote, loud shots. It's nothing really that's hurting us. I can guarantee you Jamal Murray saw this. I think it's a Jamal game.
Here's the thing about that, because I agree with you about that. That was shots fired at Jamal.
Yeah.
The thing about Jamal, one, Jaden McDaniels is kind of right, sort of right, in this one way. He had 19 points. One of them was a heave. So 16 non-heave points. That's not that many, and they were very loud because it felt like 30.
They were loud.
But here's the thing. Murray's scoring was not the only thing that was great about last game. His facilitating, the way he perfectly struck a balance in both games in 3 and 4. So part of me saw that quote and was like, Jamal, all we need are the loud points. We actually
know.
don't need more than the
Well,
loud
it's
points.
funny because I was also thinking, like, is Jaden McDaniels smart enough to be baiting Jamal Murray into not passing to Nikola Jokic?
No.
I don't think he's
Can
smart
you
enough to do
imagine?
that.
He's like, I got this tonight, Nikola.
But yeah, I'm taking
I got a
Jamal
score
Murray
to
to eat.
settle.
He's going to eat.
I like those. I have two. I think tonight could be a KCP night. In theory, I'm just sitting here. Look, my brain's going fast here because we just got the Conley news, so I'm trying to think through all this in my head. One of the ripple effects is with no Conley, you should be able to pack the paint. There's not going to be, outside of Anthony Edwards, there's not a lot of great dribble drive guys. Nikhil Alexander-Walker can do it, but it's not like he's dynamic. So you should be able to help him a lot, KCP a lot defensively by being there. And then on top of that, KCP hasn't had a game yet. Everybody else in the starting lineup has. Tonight would be a phenomenal night for KCP just to go, I don't know, 4 for 6 from 3.
It would
Okay,
be.
okay.
You know, get that crowd going, build that first early lead because you were on fire.
But you know the right answer.
But the right answer is Nikola Jokic. For me, you're thinking Jamal.
No, it's Nikola Jokic.
It's Nikola Jokic.
The
That's
answer
what-
is always Nikola Jokic.
So I was earlier looking at some Game 5 performances.
Yeah,
Here's
this
my
is-
theory about Jokic. He figures everything out before. He's ahead of the curve.
Oh my God.
Game
dude.
5, to Malone's point, most of the cards are on the table. I think there's one card left to play, the Joker card. And the Nuggets holding it. You like that one?
Tic-tac-toe, a winner.
I honestly believe that now that everything's out there, it's like, okay, who can solve all the problems? Joker's always the first one. So tonight, and then by the way, we saw it last game. Yoke was really impressive. He even missed a couple bunnies, but he was attacking in ways that were like, I know if I go this way, they do this, then I spin that way, they do that, then I do this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like he's in the point. He was going through the motions of, okay, I know how everything happens behind me now.
We have studied the pattern. We went through all of the closeout games, the 2 closeout games after the Nuggets sort of figure out their opponent, and it goes Nikola Jokic has a monster game, and then Nikola Jokic has a smart, crushing game.
Yeah.
And this is the monster game. We're due for the monster game.
that would be great.
The
MVP night?
I mean, what are you? Come on, man.
The highlights write themselves.
I mean-
Yoke receives the MVP, then scores 40.
I mean, come on, man. Like, what are we talking about here?
I also think a lot of what happened in Game 4 was them saying, okay, we're going to dare Aaron Gordon. We're going to put Anthony Edwards on him and Nikola Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels because we need Gobert to be roaming. We need him off. We need to do these things where we pressure the ball. And, like, that hurt even worse. So I think this is the night where they say, 1, we're going to try to have Gobert roam, and 2, we're going to have Gobert guard Jokic a lot, and Jokic going to go bet.
Well, it
He's
also
guarding
sounds
me.
like they're going to try to guard Aaron Gordon a lot closer.
Yeah, it could be. I mean,
So look for that as well. Also, somebody hit me up in the DMs pregame that KCP got a flat tire on the way of the game. So just a note for you.
somebody saw KCP fixing his tire on the.
I don't
on
think he was fixing it.
Lincoln
It
Avenue.
kept driving.
They're like, damn, that's crazy. Guys, let's look back at Game 5 last year. There was only one Game 5 where it was 2-2 last year, and that was the Phoenix Suns. And I just wanted to jog my memory for what the Nuggets looked like in that game. If you recall, Porter quarter immediately. First play of the game, wide open 3. He drains it.
I don't
He had
recall, actually.
4 threes in the first quarter, Michael Porter did. And the Nuggets opened up like an 18-point lead in that game. But the Suns caught fire in the second quarter and actually came all the way back and took the lead. It kind of sucked. It was like, oh, it's going to be a butt whooping, and then Denver was down. But in the third quarter of Game 3 might have been. It's hard to say. There was a lot of dominant quarters last year in the run. But it was one of the most
was
dominant
one of them.
quarters because they went from tied or up like 3 or 4 to up 30. Just a complete clowning, and it was all the Jokic-Murray two-man game in that third quarter. Denver built 2 20-point leads in that game, and the second one was for good. But they looked incredible, and it was a moment where everybody on earth was like, that's the best team in the NBA. We could have I mean, to me, it got my hopes up that tonight will look similar.
It's so wild. I love the playoffs. Isn't it crazy where we can go in just like 2 games time? Just on the edge of the end. It's the precipice of complete collapse, destruction. Nothing that we knew is true. We have to change all of our thoughts on life in general. And now look at us. Look at us. We're just thinking about what could happen. The sweetest possible timeline still on the table. It's I just see big things for them tonight.
Yeah, but we already talked about this specific game possibly being the one that can win you a championship or propel you in that way. And as a coach, And as a good coach, it is your job to give that mental edge. You take them back to last year. You take them back to that Game 5 and how good that felt and how that pretty much, catapulted them into the championship, into winning it all. So I do think that they're going to go back and look at that and remember how they felt in that. And that's a way that you could start out hot and continue to ride that, especially with the Michael Porter Jr., who did not play well last game, but had his moment. With the KCP that played well in that game, and just other guys that you could build off of. So, I love that.
Yeah.
Nobody tell the Nuggets this is the finals. I don't want them to actually take it off after.
Well, like you were saying earlier, all the adjustments are out there. Both teams are kind of an open book now. With no Mike Conley, man, I'm kind of scared to say this, but there's a little blowout potential, I feel like, tonight for the Nuggets. MVP presentation, the Timberwolves scrambling a little. They lost their composure in games 3 and 4. How does that carry over to tonight? You've got the Nuggets back at home. I'm just feeling a little blowout potential tonight.
The Wolves this season, by the way, were 3-3 without Mike Conley. They lost to Charlotte, Boston, and the Spurs. They beat Toronto, OKC, and Washington.
He is so important for them, man.
He's real critical to what they do.
He's probably their third most important player.
He really is.
But he also brings them a sense of calm when things start going
totally.
bad. He slows it down. He's a vet. He does calm things down and he gets them under control. When you don't have that, that changes now Finch is going to have to actually coach. He's not on the sideline screaming those things. You're going to have to call more timeouts. You're going to have to try to get a guy that, especially is in his head right now. You have Anthony Edwards in his head right now. So that is a big loss.
What about Monte Morris? Big game for
I
him?
was just going to say, man, you're going to be looking to Mr. Timberwolf tonight, Mr. Wolf. They're going to be looking for it from him, and we know what he's capable of, but he hasn't been playing, man. It's really hard to step in. Not everyone can pull a Reggie Jackson. Not everyone can pull an Austin Rivers. A lot of people need actually some lead-up time and some time to play before you can really count on them to do a lot. I'm sure that he'll perform admirably, but Mike Conley really is in thinking about this game and leading up, I was like, all right, so the Wolves are going to be looking at who to help Anthony Edwards, probably Mike Conley, since Karl Anthony Towns has shown himself super unreliable in that role, and they have literally no other scorers. This is a huge blow for them.
I think Denver can pack the paint, man, tonight.
Yep.
I really do, and I think that's going to be big. Honestly, Anthony Edwards is the guy that you always fear having a big night, but Denver should be able... The Wolves should have a harder time spacing the court than ever before, which means Denver should be able to make him a jump shooter.
Yeah.
He's capable of making a lot, but if you take away the rim pressure, the rim points...
Which I don't know that you can with him, but yeah, you can at least slow him down.
If you're ignoring a handful of guys, you can definitely do it, but you're just forcing him to make kick-out passes. Real quickly, I just wanted to touch on this. Jeff Green's in the building tonight, which I love. Uncle Jeff here.
What?
Watch his former team. But he's also a current player. There he is, entering. Well,
Which one is him?
Gil. I know it's not exactly the most revealing photo, but the back of that guy's head is Jeff Green.
That could literally be anybody.
That could have been anyone.
Michael Jordan in the house
Was that a
tonight.
vote?
I think it was from Nick, actually.
Nick. Great job, Nick. Great job.
That could honestly be any player. Any player.
That's so true.
It got to be Jeff, man.
That
He's
was
wearing
Jeff
a
Green,
do-rag.
guys. That was Jeff Green.
We gotta
We've been
get
waiting for a
this on the
legendary
show.
Nugget to come
We
and
gotta
sit
get this on
courtside
the
for a
show.
playoff game. It's Jeff
But-
Green.
I don't remember until a few years ago players showing up, current active players showing up to sit courtside for games. It just felt like it was weird. It would have been a
Yeah.
weird thing. Now everybody does it.
Yeah.
Bring up the list here. Last night it was LeBron James. There's Tyrese Maxey was at the Dallas game, which is kind of
these
random.
Are
That's
good
definitely Tyrese
These are good
Maxey.
photos.
These are good photos.
This is definitely LeBron
LeBron
James.
That's LeBron James,
His
there's no
wife
question.
looks ridiculous.
Well,
It must be said.
and then of course Carmelo Anthony is showing up for his favorite team.
Oh, is this from tonight?
He's got
No,
season
no,
tickets
no,
there.
no.
Oh, this
actually.
isn't from tonight.
This is from every game.
Look how
Actually,
happy
He's
he
got
looks.
season tickets.
Is this from him in Boston?
No, that's New York.
Oh.
He goes to the New York games. And now Jeff Green. Do you guys like this? Do you like? I think it's cool.
I'll tell you why. I know the exact reason why. Courtside fit.
They just want to show up to show up.
People want to get their courtside fit off. The players used to go sit up in the box. You would see they would pan to LeBron James in the
Yeah, you're
in the
right.
box. Now they want to get their courtside fit off. Why buy a big fuzzy hat for your wife if you're not going to show it off next to Rich Paul? You know what I mean?
Why would you?
I think it's pretty cool. I think a lot of it is like players supporting their friends and other people that they like and know around the league. The LeBron one, random. I don't know where it came from. Maybe he's returning. I feel like we've seen that before. But like, yeah, there's like other players that enjoy basketball and enjoy being around that. In Minnesota, randomly, Bobby Portis was there. Like, and he was like in the fourth row. But I just feel
Dang,
like
how'd they
people
get
like
Bobby
that.
Portis?
He's
People
gotta
like
get
to be
better seats.
around the team. They like to be around it. I really wish that there was more of it in Denver. Jeff Green coming back to the game, I think that's significant. I wish that more people came back.
I know.
I don't know if it's the organization or what, but you're not seeing these, old players or people that meant something to like this town that can win over the fan base or like try to become relevant again. I think that would be cool.
I also know the reason to that is that they weren't relevant. Like the town didn't have a good relationship with the Nuggets. There's not like guys that people are like, oh man, people are mad that Carmelo Anthony won't come back, but that's because it's like disrespectful and he's crowing about respect coming from the other side. But I mean, like, I would freak out if Birdman was sitting at courtside or Manimal. But like, the closest we had before this was just Monte Morris sitting on the Timberwolves bench. That was but like, it just. It really, when the Nuggets made did their rebrand and they really came into this era, like, it's never looked like this in Denver before. Like, this will leave a lasting legacy.
Yeah.
Like, when these players come back, Jamal Murray, all these players, it will be like amazing. But like right now, it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you know?
Well, Monte was at the finals in Miami. So was Gary Harris. So I feel like it's this era of Nuggets
definitely.
that are kind of sticking together. And on Jeff Green being here, I don't know if getting the MVP will motivate Nikola Jokic to play well tonight. I wonder if Jeff Green being courtside might motivate him to play well.
Yeah.
It'll definitely motivate him more than the trophy.
I wish Mike Miller would come.
He was in Miami as well for the finals.
Because he loved them. Like,
Yeah.
these are people that
Yeah.
like was beloved around there that he wants to be. I wish, the other Green would come. Like just people that have been around.
I don't really
to
need
that.
Jermichael to
Yeah, but he
Green to
liked
come.
Jermichael.
I don't really need him.
All right, let's
Yeah,
go.
teammate for life.
Let's keep it moving. Open up the Bet365 Never Ordinary Sportsbook app, and let's make our bets. Dev, what do we got?
We got some money to make.
What?
Yeah, we got some money to make. Denver comes into this game as 4.5-point favorites. And baby,
That's
I love
pretty
it.
low, man.
It was 3. It moved to 4.5. So
Mike Conley's worth 1 point.
I think he's 1. Yeah, because then went to 3.5. Then it went to 4.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like it. I like how Denver is playing. I think that they found a few things. I think that they're playing with confidence, and they remember how bad they got beat last time.
Oh, yeah.
You have to bounce back after that type of game. And also, if you don't, we've seen what this team is capable of. They will try to blow you out. Anthony Edwards is going to come out with a vengeance, and he has been open about that. So you better be on your A game. So, I feel like if Denver does not go into a hole early on, this can get into that. You have to come out. You have to start well. I got Denver -4.
Okay.
I like the over-under of 206. I was a little bit nervous about this with just them having an all-defensive lineup. I also think that Denver is going to pack the paint. There's not many outside shooters. You're going to dare McDaniels to shoot the ball. You're going to dare Nickeil Alexander-Walker to shoot the ball. So it's like, how are they going to score? The thing is, they have Anthony Edwards. He's going to try to score. Karl Anthony Towns did not play well last game. They will try to score. And I think that Denver is going to try to get out and run and try to, bounce back from the last time that they had played. I like the over 206. They also went over this a lot last game. I'm petty. I'm going to go with under 19.5
Big
points
petty?
for Karl Anthony Towns.
That should be our lock of the game.
He got no dog in him. He has no dog in him.
Dude.
Negative dog. He's a cat.
He's straight dogless.
There's just there's too much on the line in this game, and I just feel like he doesn't show up in these spots. He gets in his own head. He gets very emotional. You're not going to have your emotional leader out there to calm you down. I think that Karl Anthony Towns is in for another bad game. On the Minnesota side of things, the one that really matters, let's not waste nobody's time.
All right,
Let's
just
go
say
over
Anthony Edwards. Just say it.
29.5 points for Anthony
Oh,
Edwards.
that's crazy.
You'd be
Yeah.
silly not to. He's going to shoot it every single time. He's also going to have the ball in his hands because they don't have a point guard. It'll be on him.
How
He
many
is gonna
shots
go.
is he taking tonight?
I think he'll take like 26.
I'll
He's
say
going to go
30.
crazy. tonight.
30.
He might score 50 tonight.
He's going to shoot the ball every time.
He
really.
might score 50
That's
tonight.
the thing. That's okay. It's not going to be enough. I think Denver still excels. For Denver side of things, I'm going where I go every time, and I'm not afraid of it. Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 3-pointers.
Okay.
He did not have a good game last time that they
No, he
played.
didn't.
He got kind of played off the court in a way.
No,
like he did.
in the most literal way.
But also, he played a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
He just didn't give you much.
Gave you great spacing.
If you're not hitting shots, if you're not grabbing rebounds, if you're not playing deep, there's no point for you to be out there. I think that he's going to knock shots. I think he responds. He's showed that he's responded in these type of situations. I think he responds in a big way. I said he's going to eat. I know he's going to eat over 13.5 points for Aaron Gordon. He's been on a tear. He's knocking down shots.
Aaron Gordon?
If they try to like play him tight, he's just gonna blow by and dunk.
That's what it sounds like
you
they're gonna try
cannot
to do.
play him tight. You also will take away from everywhere else. If you try to stop the Aaron Gordon, that means there's no double team for Jokic. That means you're not gonna like concede that. He's not gonna be part of that. I think he goes over. I also like his over 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's been a force on the boards. He's scoring. He had like 6 assists last game, so he's doing a little bit of everything. He's very unselfish, but he's also scoring. He did this in points alone last game, so I like it. I like Jamal Murray over 5.5 assists. That line is way too low. Last game he had 8. Also, they have been doing the pick and roll a lot more. It's been working. It's going to continue to work. People are also knocking down shots, so I like over 5.5 assists. I think that line is too low. For the defensive play, I think Nikola Jokic, over 2.5 stocks. Last game, he had 3 steals alone, so he would have gotten his steals. He also had a block to go along with that. He's just more active. It seems like the only person that he's doing the Olay defense for is Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
No one else. Y'all are not getting anything else from me. And he plays like that.
Do you think he'll have more steals with Mike Conley not being there?
Absolutely.
Who never turns the ball over?
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And also, I think that they're going to force. Mike Conley has set a guy up for them to score. Now it's going to be Cat trying to create by himself. Rudy Gobert trying to create for himself. That's not working. For the lock of the game,
Let's go.
you see the shirt. He's an MVP. He is our guy. Nikola Jokic over 29.5 points.
I love this bet. I
He's
love
the
this lock.
MVP. He's the best player in the world. He is the Messiah. He's going to go over 29.5 points. Lock it in.
Yep. He's getting 40 tonight.
I kind of love this bet because I think it's a scoring night from Yoke as well, man. I think they try to guard a little more honestly.
Trust the
Conley
pattern.
being out's a little different. Maybe they try to scramble more since they're going to have so much length, but whatever. I'm already locked into it, so I'm
Trust
going
the
for it.
pattern, dude. Trust
Trust
the pattern.
All right, everybody. We're going to go watch this MVP ceremony if we can.
I bet we can't.
So we're
Probably
going to
not.
try to go watch it, but we'll also be doing the watch along here. So you're going to want to head on over to that chat. Get chatting over there, and we'll see you in a moment.
We all silly like the mayor.